So we're on with chapter 21 in Enan's perspective. Before today, magic didn't have a face. Not beyond beggars' tales and the hushed undertones of servants' stories. It died 11 years ago. It only lived in the fear in Father's eyes. Magic didn't breathe, it didn't strike or attack. Magic didn't kill my riders and trap me inside its grasp. I peer over the ledge of the cliff. Lula's body slumps, impaled on a jagged rock. Her eyes hang open in an empty stare. Blood stains her spotted coat. As a child, I watched Lula rip through a savage gorillion twice her size. In the face of magic, she couldn't even fight. One, I whispered to myself, leaning away from the ghastly sight. 2, 3, 4, 5. I will the numbers to slow my pulse, but my heart only beats harder in my chest. There are no moves, no counterattacks. In the face of magic, we become ants. I watch a line of the 6-legged creatures until I feel something sticky under the metal heel of my boot. I scoot back and follow the crimson droplets to the Magi's corpse. Blood still leaks from his chest. I study him, really seeing the Magi for the first time. Alive, he looked 3 times his actual size, a beast shrouded in white. The symbols that covered his dark skin glowed as he threw our riders through the air. With his death, the symbols have vanished. Without them, he looks strangely human, strangely empty. But even dead, his corpse wraps a chill around my throat. He held my life in his hands. He had every chance to throw it away. My thumb grazes over Father's tarnished pawn, my skin prickling as I back away from his body. I understand now, Father. With magic, we die. But without it, my gaze drifts back to the dead man, to the hands gifted by the heavens, stronger than the earth. Orisha cannot survive that kind of power. But if I used it to get the job done, a bitter tang crawls into my tongue as the new strategy takes hold. Their magic is a weapon. Mine could be one too. If there are Magi who can fling me off a cliff with a wave of their hand, magic is my only chance of getting the scroll back. But the very thought makes my throat close up. If Father were here, I look down at the pawn. I can almost hear his voice in my head. Duty before self, no matter the cost or collateral. Even if it's a betrayal of everything I know, my duty to protect Orisha comes first. I release my hold on the pawn. For the first time, I let go. It starts slowly, broken, crawling limb by limb. The pressure in my chest is released. The magic I force down starts to stir underneath my skin. At the pulsing sensation, my stomach lurches, churning through every ounce of my disgust. But our enemies will use this magic against us. If I'm to fulfill my duty and save my kingdom, I must do the same. I sink into the warm thrum pulsing from within. Slowly, a cloud of the Magi's consciousness appears, wispy and blue like the others, twisting above his head. As I touch it with my hand, the dead man's essence hits first. A tinged scent, rustic like burnt timber and coal. My lips curl as I sink into his lingering psyche, reaching for it instead of running away. A single memory begins to flicker into my mind. A quiet day when his temple teemed with life. He ran across the manicured grass, hand in hand with a young boy. The more I release the hold of my magic, the bigger the flicker grows. A whiff of clean mountain air fills my nose. A distant song rings through my ears. Each detail becomes rich and robust, as if the memory stored in his consciousness is my own. With time, new knowledge begins to settle. A soul, a name, something simple, like it. Metal heels clank against the stone cliff. Skies! With a start, I force my magic down. The smell of timber and coal vanishes in an instant. A sharp pain in my stomach reappears in its stead. I pinch the bridge of my nose as my head reels from the whiplash. Moments later, Kia emerges from the thick underbrush. Sweat-soaked hair sticks to her brown skin, now splattered with Lakin's blood. As she nears, I reach up to make sure my helmet is still covering my head. That was far too close. There's no way across, she sighs, sitting down beside me. I scouted a full kilometer. With the bridge destroyed, we can't travel between this mountain and the next. Figures. In the brief flicker I got of Lakin, I guessed as much. He was intelligent. He pursued the only path that would allow them to escape. I told him not to do this. Kia removes her black breastplate. I knew this wouldn't work. She shuts her eyes. He will blame me for their resurgence. He'll never look at me the same way again. I know the look she speaks of. Like she's the sun and he's the sky. It's the gaze Father reserves for her, the one he shares when he thinks they're alone. I lean away and pick up my boot, unsure of what to say. Kia never breaks down in front of me. Before today, I thought she never broke at all. In her despair, I see my own, my concession, my defeat, but that is not my place. I must be a stronger king. Stop moping, I snap. We haven't lost the war yet. Magic has a new face. That simply means I must attack with a new blade. There's a guard post east of Sokoto, I say. Find the Magi, find the scroll. We can send word of the collapsed bridge with your Firehawk. If they dispatch a legion of stock laborers, we can build another one. Brilliant. Kia buries her face in her hands. Let's make it easier for the maggots to return and kill us when their powers are restored. We'll find them before it happens. I'll kill her. I'll save us. With what leads? Kia asks. Getting the men and supplies alone will take days. Building it, 3 days. I cut her off. How dare she question my reasoning? Admiral or not, Kia cannot defy an order from me. If they work through the night, they can get it done, I continue. I've seen stalkers construct palaces with less. What use will a bridge be, Enon? Even if we build it, there will be no trace of the maggot by the time it's done. I pause and look across the cliff. The sea salt scent to the girl's soul is almost gone, fading in the jungle's underbrush. Kia's right. A bridge shall only take us so far. By nightfall, I won't be able to sense the diviner at all. Unless... I turn back to the temple, recalling the way it made voices surge in my head. If it could do that, perhaps it can allow my magic to sense more. Chindoble. I shift the Senate pieces around in my mind. They came here for answers. Maybe I can find some too. Yes, that's it. If I discover what's amplifying my curse, I can use it to pick up the girl's trail. Just this once. Enon, it'll work, I interrupt. Summon the stalkers and lead the construction while I search. There will be traces of the girl there. I'll uncover the clues to where they're headed. I pocket Father's pawn. In its absence, the air hits cold against my skin. This fight is not over yet. The war has only begun. Send a message and gather a team. I want those laborers on this ledge by dawn. Enon, as captain, I'm not addressing you as your captain. I cut her off. I'm commanding you as your prince. Kia stiffens. Something between us breaks, but I force my gaze to stay even. Father wouldn't tolerate her fragility. Neither can I. Fine. She presses her lips into a tight line. Your desire is my command. As she stalks away, I see the Magi's face in my mind. Her wretched voice, the silver eyes. I stare across the void to where her sea salt soul has disappeared among the jungle trees. Keep running, I whisper. I'm coming for you. Okay, so in this, we've seen a really big character change here in Enon. A lot of his emotional response to trauma or to difficult situations, a very large switch in how he approaches a lot of his conflicts within here. So what is this change? How has he changed? And what has caused these changes in him as a character within here? So again, take a few moments to characterize Enon, create your summary of this chapter, and then continue on to chapter 22 of Children in Blood and Bone.